Wednesday, fun day. Think you're going to like this. So we asked what everybody wanted. Doctor Who's come back several times. So here's the Dalek. Let's get drawing. So I'm going to use my watercolour sketchbook today because I'm going to do this, my Dalek in watercolour pencils, and you can see if Elizabeth flicks up. This is where I painted the junior TARDIS earlier. It's still actually drying. That's how soon that was. And this is my book where I've got my minions and my Thing 1 and Thing 2 and Secret Life of Pets. So the books, you can get the books at our Little Art School shop on the online page. But the key to them is that this watercolour paper is nice and thick. So if you've not got that, do not fret. Grab whatever piece of paper you can get hold of and let's draw this Dalek. So what I'm going to start with is by finding the middle of the page. I talk about this a lot. It just means that you don't end up running out of space on your page. Nothing more frustrating, is there, when you get to the end of a picture. Sorry, that wasn't a bell, that was Elizabeth hitting her coffee cup against the lamp. So we're going to start. I'm going to start with a line here. And that's just a guideline for me. I'm going to rub that out. And if I come in about a quarter of the way, I'm going to put a dot there. And about a third of the way, slightly more, I'm going to put a dot there. And then I'm going to go up. Now you might think, why is she spending so much time getting that first position in? Position of these first shapes is so important. If we can get this right, it saves so much time messing around. So can you see that first line is on a slight slant, just a really small angle there to get that. And then I'm going to do the same here, another angle up. There, so I'm holding my pencil very loosely here. Now on this side here, I'm going to take it up again at a slight angle. Daleks are a bit more of a complex shape than you would think, actually. Here we go, and then we're going to go down, and this is going to be pretty much a straight line, just going down slightly. So that's my first shape, and I'm really confident I've got that in about the right space. So all the other shapes now I can build off that. So I'm going to go up, I'm going to go in just about 0.5 centimetre on both sides. I'm going to take that straight up. This is going to be the Dalek head here. Straight up, straight across. And then if I do a little dot there to help guide me, this is going to be the top of the Dalek. There, so that's us first few shapes. And I'm going to come in from there about there. And what I want to do is actually take this quite a bit wider than there. So if I think to myself, I'm going to go to about there, give myself a dot, really, really gentle stroke, coming down. And on this side, it's about the same. So when you pause, just look at the angles, think about the angles, think about the size relative to the sizes around it. So this one I'm going to stop before there. I probably should have stopped about there. And there I'm going to go down and across. And here I'm just going to go across there. And then I'm going to come up, down. You'll see this when you pause it. You can see these shapes and how they come and join together. I'm going to put a little line there because that'll help me later. And there, out at an angle, down and across. And that's our basic start of our Dalek. So if you pop that in, and then we'll move on to the next bit. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to rub out that guideline I gave myself at the start, just to show myself where halfway down the page was. And then I'm going to come up to here. And what I'm going to start with is, I don't know the technical term for this. I do apologise, all you Whovians out there, for my ignorance. I'm going to call it a gun. Is that bad? Probably. I'm going to go with that sort of shape here. And from that, I'm going to take out, I still find this quite scary. I was absolutely petrified of Daleks when I was little. Take that bit out, and then I'm going to go round, slightly thinner there, and that's the gun in. So there's another one, another kind of fierce looking gun here. So from there, you've got a little triangle and two bits coming down, and that bit's going to go round like that and coming down Now on your guide sheet, that line there, the line that you're about to rub out, that's done in a dotted line. I'm just going to keep it in for a moment while I put these shapes around it, because it's just helping me work out where everything goes. And now if I go underneath, I'm going like that, 1, 2, 3, and then round. And then that shape, which you'll see on the guide sheet, is a red dotted line. We're just going to rub that out there. Okay, so that's this middle part done. We're going to do the top. We're going to come and finish off with the top bit at the end. So the next bit here is, I want you to go down and put in, oh, actually, let's go down to the bottom. I think that will be the best thing. We'll put in the bottom of the Dalek. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then again, that's a red dotted line on yours, on the guide sheet when you pause it, so you can rub that out. This will just help us when we come to paint here. And there, that's the bottom done. Now this all looks really complex, this drawing, and it's not actually, it really isn't when you break it down. I want you to come in and put a few lines there, and then we're going to come in and we're going to put these circles. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sure these have got proper names. Anyone who feels like I should have done more research, please bear in mind that we're doing quite a lot of designing at the moment. But when it comes to Toy Story, which is Friday, I don't need to do my research. I've seen all the films and I love it. There we go. I've got another 4 there, and I'm going to go with lines in between. I'm going to come here onto this side next. And I'm going to put them so that they're actually on the line. 2, 3, 4, with a little line quite tucked in next to it, just so I know I can fix them in, because I want still another 2 there. 1, 2. I possibly have squeezed it all in a bit too much there. And I'll go like that. And that is the end of the second stage. So give it a pause and we'll come off and finish it in a second. Right, let's go up to the top of the Dalek now. And I'm going to just start with a little rectangle up here. There, and just a few shapes and lines. These start to make sense when we put the paint in later. But we'll put a bit there. Right, on this side here, we've got a circle joined together with another circle, and inside there is one bit, and then we've got a couple of lines. And if you take 2 lines down there like that, and then we'll join it here. When I saw this, I did think, this is really complicated. But you can see that as you break it down into these small shapes, it really does all become quite manageable. So this next bit here, I want you to bring that out slightly, and then we're going to go in. On this side, we're going to go 1. There's a tiny bit of a bump there. 2, down, bump, bump. And from there, we're going to take these little boxes. So again, just take your time. We've got 1, 2, 3. These are going to be coloured in black when we come to the colouring, and then it will all make much more sense. And underneath, you've got exactly the same thing. 1, 2, 3. On this side, we want to bring it out as well. So I'm going to bring it out there, like that. And underneath that one, I'll actually take that right to the end, that one. And underneath that one, I'm going to bring it out there and there, like that. So that means the third one will come in there. And this side is going to go down like that. Then we've got a big one there in the middle. And another one there. So that's the top of our Dalek done. Now in this bit here where we've got this gap, really don't get too worked up about it. I'm just going to put, if you imagine it's like lots of metal bits, and I'm just going to put in random lines here, 1, 2, and you'll see when we come to do our drawing, these will actually be coloured in, but just put in a few random lines like that and a line underneath. Round here, if we go like that and put a little tiny circle there, and then lines coming out and down to make it into whatever deadly weapon it is, and more things. So we have actually almost finished. There's another circle at the bottom there to make sense of the gun. And then the very last thing is down here. And this is our double circles. So the first thing to do is if you put this row in, 1, so they're kind of coming in like that, 2, 3, 4. So it's halves rather than circle there. And then just above it, as if you can see the one behind. Can you see that? 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's our finished Dalek. For everybody who requested Doctor Who, especially Isla from our Troon classes, hope you like the Dalek. Take your time, really enjoy it. So we're going to go on and do ours with watercolor pencils, but if you've got pens or felt tips and that's what you want to do, then go for it, but please send us your pictures. So I'm going to do mine with my watercolor pencils here, but just use whatever you can get hold of. But these are the watercolor pencils. You'll see why I'm going to do it with these. I absolutely love them. And these are the colours I've chosen for my Dalek. I'm going for copper tones. Now, you can obviously have Daleks in a myriad of colours. So choose whichever Dalek colours you want to go for. I'm going for a grey, 2 yellows, a black, which you will need, whatever you're doing, and then this, which is a burnt sienna, which I'm going to use as a copper. So I'm going to start with my grey. And oh dear, I've sharpened all my pencils. This always happens. They immediately. So I'm going to go like that with my grey. I'm just going round. I'm not actually colouring the whole thing in, and I'm doing this on purpose because I really want to get an edge as if it's sort of drawn around, but I want it to be lighter in between. So I'm going to do this, here we go, and I'm going to do this one in this grey as well. I'm using my grey as if it was a silver here really, or a sort of stainless steel type colour. Oops, there's my one. Here's one I prepared earlier. That's the one that I'm working from here. And then I'm going to go down like that. So what I'll do is I'll just at each stage here, I'm just going to turn it to paint. I'm using a quite small brush here, just because I want to get into these fine details. So can you see I'm lifting the paint from the edge and I'm bringing it in to the centre, and here just really softening it so it retains all the details. So I'm going to come in with my yellow now and go around. You're going to hear that on every time I pick up these pencils. I just can't resist a sharp pencil, so I always over sharpen them. I'm going to go around a few of these boxes. There really isn't, I'm not sticking to anything here. I'm just trying to put in a bit of a sort of pattern around. I'm using a very bright yellow. It's called a cadmium yellow here for this. And then I'll just quickly turn that as well, although I use a slightly bigger brush here so I can do it a bit more quickly. And then I'm going to use a different, it could be the same colour, but I'm going to use an ochre here for these. And all I'm going to do is go round the edge, and then a little bit in between. Can you see like that? Round the edges of each of them and a bit in between. I'll do that exactly the same in all of these circles. Obviously take your time. I'm going to do this really quickly as we go through. So it's been really nice to have requests for different things because it's made me think of things I wouldn't have thought of. And as I was painting this last night and having a practice, I was thinking that I didn't think at my advanced age I'd be drawing Daleks, but I've really enjoyed this. Here we go, let's go in the centre of it. And I'm going to turn each one of those. I'm not putting a great deal of paint in there, as you can see. So squeezing my brush, I want it to be nice and damp but not soaking wet. And very quickly there, turning each one into paint. Now Daleks do come in all different colours, so you could really experiment. Maybe Google Daleks, Dalek varieties. See which one you fancy having a go at. And I'm going to finish this first stage off with my black. So coming up here, this bit's black around the edge and a bit lighter inside. This one is black all the way. like that. And then the last bit here, I'm going to come down. I'm going around here very heavily in black to put the pigment down. What I'll do really quickly now is just turn that. And I need just a bit to turn this one. So if you want this bottom bit to be darker, all you would do is add a lot more of the paint pigment. And the more paint pigment you apply, the darker it'll be. So the very last bit now that I need to do in black is these bits here. So I'm going to go around each of them, just in the same way as I did with the circles, and then colour them in. So if you've got other ideas you want to come, I'm really excited about Woody and Buzz. They're going to be Friday's daily draws, and Elizabeth and I have been thinking about different things. And we've had loads of great fun requests and of designs. So we're spending a lot of time playing with our pencils at the moment. There we go. And that's what I'm going to do now, is just pause for a minute or two and let that bit dry. So I'm now going to go round absolutely every line here with my burnt sienna. And what I'm doing is just getting the paint pigment down from my watercolor pencils here, all the way down. And then that's what I'm going to lift with my brush for the colour. So if I go quite hard on these middle bits, that's going to give me plenty of paint pigment to pick up here. So I'm not going to colour it, I'm just going to go hard with the line there. And the same here. It's going to be funny going from a gentle a Dalek with all his malevolent menace to Elizabeth's lovely gentle paint with the grandparents that we've got tomorrow, which is a lovely post box. So I hope you will join us. You could even have a Dalek hiding in the post box, although that would be terrifying. We're going to go up like that and take that line down. And then just to ensure we've got enough paint pigment there, if we just go like that down through it, it'll just give us that bit more pigment around the top. All of these little lines that we put in, you know, these ones we put in earlier like that, they will all come up once we turn it. So I think that's probably about enough pigment down on the paper. I'm going to start with quite a fine brush here just for these bits in between there. I'm going to take it round. I don't really want any of the paper left white within the Dalek, so I'm going to make sure that my paint pigment therefore spreads right across. You see, so it's really taking in and painting. And then I'm going to go slightly bigger because otherwise we'll be here all day. And can you see what I mean here? So it's painting it, but it's retaining those lines. And the same down here. It's painting it, but it's retaining the lines. I can go right up to the edges of my little balls that I did earlier. I'll take it round here like that, around the whole thing. So you really can take your time over this, where I'm going super fast. Here we go. Right, last little bits. Turning to paint here. You can see as my brush picks up more of the paint. Unless I put more water on the brush, it's going to be, it's going to come in quite dark. But it's a really easy, effective way to paint using watercolour, having the pencils. I don't know, I just think it gives you an ability to be quite neat, but also to have the fun of watercolour at the same time. So if you're thinking of getting anyway, just have a look on our website for them there. We've tested out the pigment. There's quite a variety of different watercolour pencils that you can get, but like all paints, it's all about the ingredients, like when you're cooking. It's like the quality of the ingredients and the quality of the pigment. We're really hot on that at the Little Art School. We need to make sure that we've got really good quality paints. There we go, and that is our finished Dalek. So if you finish that, maybe go back and have a go at the TARDIS too, and put together your Doctor Who collection, and make sure you send us some photos. really enjoyed that. So if you're a Doctor Who fan and you want more Doctor Who, you can either have a go later today or another day later in the week and have a look at the junior one where we've got a TARDIS spinning through space and we're playing with some different watercolor techniques. Make sure you send us your Daleks. We really, really, really want to see them. You just put them in your comments on any of our social media pages. Elizabeth's going to be back here tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Thursday is Draw with the Grandparents Day, and Elizabeth's got a gorgeous postbox. So make sure grannies, granddads, aunties, uncles, that they're all ready for it. We'll be here 11 o'clock tomorrow with our Draw with the Grandparents.